All right, so let's move on to the next topic. This is a topic that is very controversial because it got some pretty negative backlash from people when it was announced. But PlayStation Plus games for the month, so Sony did announce that in March we're going to be getting Bloodborne and we're also going to be getting Ratchet and Clank, which is good news, obviously. However, in that same announcement, and this kind of came a little under the radar in the very beginning until it got, more people directed more attention towards it. Sony pretty much announced that starting in 2019, they're going to be cutting both PS3 games and Vita games from PlayStation Plus. Now, this is not going to start, I think, until March 2019, which is fine, but there was no mention of what they are going to be adding. They said you're going to be getting PlayStation 4 games, and that has led to some speculation that people feel like, well, PlayStation 5 games are probably going to be coming to the service. But here's the thing. We don't know when PS5 is coming out. We have thoughts that it could come out next year, but we don't really know anything concrete about that. And Sony continues to sell PS4 consoles, so I don't think they're going to be switching to another console anytime soon, but I could be wrong. But I just wanted to get you guys' initial thoughts on them cutting PlayStation 3 and Vita games starting in 2019. So, Dana, how about you start us off and let us know what you think about this topic? Oh, well, I'll let her get situated. Why don't you go, Gary?
Yeah. Yeah, there's two ways you can look at it. Like, because I'm thinking Sony must know something that, because obviously they have access to all the behind the scenes data and everything. So maybe they're seeing that activity isn't, as high as it used to be on the PlayStation 3 and the PS Vita for PlayStation Plus. So maybe that's why they're deciding to cut back on it. But like you said, I do hope that they're planning to, replace the PS3 and VR offerings with more PS4 content then, because we still need to get the same level of value from PlayStation Plus as we currently do. And taking away, PS3 and VR games is going to be a big blow to some people, because there are people out there who still actively play their PlayStation VR, PS3 and PS4, continuously. So, having all that content taken away from PS3 and VR is a big deal to those people. So they definitely need to add value back onto the service if they're going to remove the PS3 and VR games.
I agree. I do have some things to say, but I'm gonna let Dana. Why don't you tell me what your thoughts are on this topic, Dana?
Is disrespectfulness as someone who likes the old generation or old consoles or whatever you want to say. I still play those old games, and guess what? I still play my Xbox 360. So it's disrespectful. If you like a game and you're with it, it shouldn't matter at all. But yes, what Gary said is true. Yes, maybe they're looking from, the statistics, and they're looking at, the money aspect of it, and they're able to see, only say 10% plays the game, or only 5%, and it's not, what our target audience we want it to be. But it's still disrespectful. Darn it. Show some love. So I'm completely against it. I don't like it. And I think that they should come out with some type of explanation, because it's just wrong.
Yeah, I definitely have respect for everybody that still plays Vita and PS3 games. I know we have, I know we have a very good friend of the site named Seth, who always kept coming after us with these back and forth debates like, oh, so how could you say that you like Nier Automata if you didn't play the other Nier, the first Nier on PS3? And I had to tell Seth, I don't have a PS3 anymore. When it came time to get a PS4, I just wanted to upgrade. I didn't see any value in keeping the PS3, only because, didn't have much space to work with. And obviously all of my friends were upgrading to the latest console. So therefore I was like, well, I don't see a point while I need to stay playing PS3 games when everybody's going to be on PS4. But with that said, for those that still want to play the games, they should be able to still play the games. But I do think that Sony is definitely going to have to address this and talk about what are fans going to be getting in return. Maybe you add another PlayStation 4 game so they get 3 PS4 games for the month, and then they also get a PlayStation VR game or something to that effect. But for people who don't have PSVR, that still is not going to be of any value to them. So maybe they will drop a price, although I highly doubt that will happen. But they absolutely positively will have to give a reasoning for this. As for PlayStation 5, if eventually they bring PlayStation 5 games to PS Plus, that's totally fine. But again, it all depends when it's coming out. They're not going to release that console this year. If it comes out, that's probably going to be late 2019 or sometime in 2020. This is going to happen before any of that happens. So they definitely have to explain what they're going to give fans in return for this type of stuff. Maybe you give them a PS Now subscription, or you add that, because we spoke about that in the past, that they could easily add a PlayStation Now subscription as part of the PlayStation Plus package, but they definitely going to have to do something to get rid of these games. Me personally, I don't care because, I only play PlayStation 4 games, but for everyone else, yeah, it's definitely an issue. But here's another question I definitely want to ask, because Dana, you brought up Xbox, the fact that you still play Xbox 360. Now, based on when this happened, would you say that Xbox Live is going to be, it has a better value now than PS Plus once they actually do this change?
Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely. Because I still love the games. And guess what? A lot for me, yes, the visuals are better and, you have updated software and that's all really great, compared to yesteryear. But for me, some of my favorite games came out on the older console. So Xbox Live right now is winning. Now, Xbox, it has its own troubles, and I'm not saying that it's better than all of the other ones, but in terms of this and having more options, I'm gonna have to go with Xbox Live.
So how about you, Gary? What do you think about this topic?
I mean, yeah, to be honest, and I'm sorry, Reggie, who's in the chat right now, but to be honest, I don't think PlayStation Plus has been that great, for the past year or maybe even longer than that. I mean, before last year, you could have used the excuse, PS4 was still kind of new, so there wasn't many games for them to put on the service and stuff like that. But now we're like 4 or 5 years into the console or whatever. And yeah, I don't feel like it provides that much value besides being able to play online. And I find myself doing that less on the PlayStation 4 now anyway. So yeah, like I don't think these services are as good as they were last generation, to be honest. I think they were much more valuable then because you had a deeper library at the time they were introduced. Well, Xbox Live was around from, the get-go, but yeah, I just think there was a lot more content last generation than what we're being given this generation on both consoles, though. I don't think it's just Sony. I mean, Microsoft, that now they're kind of turning things around and they have Game Pass as well, which is another option. And they have backwards compatibility on theirs as well, which is cool. That's a nice, bonus feature on the Xbox Live system. But besides that, yeah, to be honest, I don't think there's much value. I mean, it could just be me personally, I can't speak for everyone else, but I don't think that there has been significant value in these services this generation.
All right, so a quick question to ask. We'll go ahead, Dana.
No, I just wanted to say, like, to piggyback off of that. That is kind of why I like it. See, I like both consoles, and the fact that PS4 offers me more, but the online part and the other exclusive and like the other fact that the backwards compatibility and offering the older games, it sucks at. Xbox, for me, their games, it's not that many, and they're not anything that really makes me that excited, but it allows me to still live in my nostalgia, which, so it balances it out for me, though. But I really like my games that are, from the older times. And by doing that, by offering that, I kind of maybe like 0.1% like it a little bit more compared to Xbox. There's also, Nintendo and the other ones. But for me, I like the fact that I can still play my old games.
Yeah, no, totally a good point. What I was going to ask is, now I know that I believe it was one of the reps on the PlayStation Europe team. He had said last week, hey, the PlayStation Plus March games are going to blow you away. And as I mentioned earlier, those games are Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank. So Gary, would you say that that announcement was that those are games to be impressed by? And do you think that makes PlayStation Plus at least valuable for this month? Or do you still say, nah, that's still not good enough?
Yeah, not good enough for me. I mean, I played Bloodborne already. Ratchet and Clank, those games are cool, but like they're not my speciality or anything, but they are fun games. So I mean, I think I'm just kind of like, a bit of a unique kind of gamer at the moment. Like, I can't speak for the majority. I'm sure there's loads of people out there who are fascinated by the fact that they can now play Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank, especially because Ratchet and Clank is more of a family game. So they're going to make a lot of children happy now, I think. So that's cool. And, Bloodborne, if you haven't played that game yet, it's perfect time to give it a try. So yeah, I mean, it's good for some people, but I don't think it's, what he hyped it up to be. It's not like the most spectacular month of PlayStation Plus ever, So yeah, he kind of oversold that a little bit.
I will say that I am a little disappointed because I actually just picked up Bloodborne when they had a sale on it recently. So when I found out it was free, I was absolutely livid when I saw this news. But I said, all right, well, lesson learned. I won't buy any more old games now. I'll wait for Sony to give it to me for free. But Danny, you was going to say something?
Wow, those are such great games. Wow. I'm really blown away right now. I'm like, wow, I'm so speechless. They no. They overshot when they said that. They really did. I mean, unless I have like 20 kids, then maybe I'll be like, yay, but I don't. So for me, that does nothing for me. It makes me just dead inside.
They oversold worse than Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan.
Wow. 90s wrestling. You go.
That was like 2005.
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, like one more thing I wanted to mention though, I will suggest is once this goes into effect next year or whenever they plan to take those games away, I think that should be the point where they say, okay, we're going to somehow tie in PlayStation Now with PlayStation Plus now, because that's going to fill that void that Xbox is already fulfilling for their customers. Like they're giving backwards compatibility games on their service, and that's an extra bonus. Like if I'm looking at both services on paper, if I own both systems, that's an extra that's an extra strike for Microsoft. That's an extra tick that they're fulfilling for the customers and stuff. So I think they should definitely try and do something with that, because PlayStation Now does give you access to some of those old games on PlayStation 3 and beyond PS2 even. So they should definitely look at trying to tie that in to the service to make it more valuable and to kind of replace, just offering a free game for PS3 and VR. Like, I think that should be the next step for them.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just about to ask that question, because I saw Reggie had the comment. He says, it's a business, and business is not about your feelings. may not like the truth, but that's real. I agree with that. And I was going to say that part of me feels that Sony making this announcement about getting rid of the PS3 games and the Vita games was just so that now it will make it so that there is no, that now, obviously we already know that with PlayStation Now, we was expecting them to respond to what Microsoft is doing with backwards compatibility, and Sony never did that. So I thought by them getting rid of this type of stuff, then they could just say, okay, well, now this is how we eliminate ourselves from that conversation of even competing with, or even trying to compete with Xbox on backwards compatibility, because we won't even offer it at all. You're only going to be playing PlayStation 4 games on your console now, nothing else. But yeah, what you just said, that pretty much answers the question, because I really do feel they definitely need to get PS Now implemented into this. Then, you know, that will provide more value to their customers. And I know that there are some people that we also know that said, well, yeah, they pay for PlayStation Now. That's great for them. You know, if they must be balling if they pay for PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, you know, but if they got the money, by all means, go ahead and do it. But as of right now, getting rid of the PS3 and Vita games and not replacing it with anything else, that's a bad move. So I hope Sony has something planned, because people will get angry once they get into, you know, actually get into all of this. But we'll see.
Yeah, just one more thing to say to end it off. Reggie, you know, your family to the coalition, but you might want to cover your ears here, because I don't want to upset you. I do want you to be on the show in the future, though, you know, so you can kind of rebuttal and say what you think. But I do want to say that, considering how much they bought Gaikai for, you know, PlayStation Now has been a letdown so far, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it hasn't been worth that purchase that they bought that company for. So this is the way they can really put that to good use, I think, you know, if they do what me and Rich just said, and, you know, add PlayStation Now into the PlayStation Plus program. And this can also help them kind of one-up Microsoft, because if you look at what Microsoft is doing, they have their Xbox Live, you know, Gold service, and then they also have Game Pass as an option, but it's two completely separate subscriptions, right? So if Sony merge PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now somehow, then that is one-upping Microsoft completely. And, you know, if they start to add PlayStation 4 stuff to PlayStation Now so you can stream it instead of having to download it, that's going to be a big deal in itself, because I get tired of having to download a game every time I buy it on PlayStation and stuff. So, because I have to, like, I refuse to upgrade the system, you know, just out of, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just out of stubbornness, basically. Like, because I bought the system, I don't feel like I should have to, you know, upgrade it. You know, it's not a PC, it's a console. But yeah, I get really tired of having to delete and download new games on PS4. So if they added that ability to stream a PS4 game, that would be phenomenal, especially if it's tied to PlayStation Plus. So if they can do that next year, like, or even announce it this year at E3, then that's going to be a major announcement for them. So that's what I want to see them do next.
I just want to make one last comment. I agree with a lot of the points that were said. I want to give a shout out to Eddie Velasquez, who was in the chat as well. He said that Xbox Live is a better value, and yeah, I believe he is correct. And what you said about Game Pass is also correct, Gary. But the fact that somebody can actually rent Sea of Thieves for only $10 and play for, you know, not spend $60 on it, and then you can just easily get rid of the game and you can download it, I think that already makes it better, because, you know, Microsoft is thinking about the newer titles. You know, whenever Halo 6 comes out or Gears of War 5, you can use Game Pass without spending $60, play the game. And I think that's something that we haven't really seen Sony do that with any of their newer titles. If they said God of War or Days Gone or any of this stuff is going to be available in that fashion, then I'd be like, okay, great. But because they don't have that option available, I have to say Microsoft, yeah, they have an advantage with this stuff. So we'll see what happens ultimately. But it's like, listen, you know, we have to see what Sony actually does when they announce this, and then what they have planned. We'll see what they actually have planned by taking away this stuff. But until then, yeah, we can definitely criticize, but we have to definitely wait to see what exactly they got planned before we criticize too harshly. But just my opinion. So any other thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
I just want someone to offer WWE No Mercy, and I'm good. No, yeah. Look, I still have my Nintendo 64 just so I can play that game.
Oh, well, I don't know if we're going to see that, you know, unless they say, well, we're going to have Pukes and you know, pick up the deal to make it happen again. Then they will make the game horrible. No. even if it's a remaster, they'll find a way to mess that up. So that's, you know.
See, why must you even jinx it? You just never said anything. Now it's just jinxed, and I'm sad.
Well, don't worry, it's not going to happen. You know, Vince is too busy focused on XFL. He ain't going to put no money into this project.
It could happen because Triple H.
Yeah, maybe. But Triple H first has to take himself out of these storylines where he has to wrestle. He has to stop that completely. Then he can focus on the business side of WWE.
Well, hopefully Ronda kills him, and then we're all saved. And we have Jeff Jarrett, so we're good.
We'll see. So Gary, you good? You ready to move on?
Yeah, I was gonna ask something about wrestling, but this is the wrong show. So yeah, continue.
All right. Well, I guess you can ask that question when we get towards the end. We got 2 more topics to talk about.